Sal. Welcome to the first episode of year 10 of Crowdsource the Truth.
Happy
2026.
New Year.
Happy New Year, Sal.
Happy New Year. I'm going to start by saying this, Jason. I watched your whole, we'll say, a whole special on John Cullen, who I don't know. And I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. He came on X and he asked, like, quote tweeted me, how does Sal Greco get 30,000 views on X? Guy, I don't know where you're at. It's called a promote button. You press promote and you can promote tweets, but I don't know. Maybe you're too busy watching the leader of the conspiracy theorists, the ultimate warrior on like reruns and World Wrestling Entertainment, because that's what the world has become, by the way.
It absolutely has.
Great job. You were in Santa Monica. I love Santa Monica. We're here in beautiful Pompano, Florida, by the way.
It is nice here.
It's beautiful here. I did see Jason went to Pompano. I mean, he went to Santa Monica, which is one of the few places I love in California. I should go back there. There's a lot to do on the pier. There's a Trump impersonator there. Remember? He's still there. There's plenty of rides. It was beautiful, and it's sad to see how California has become kind of like a default. It's like a broken state
shell of itself.
But it's still that whole strip: Santa Monica, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach. These are areas,
really nice.
That is an area that if you never visited, you should. And if you could afford it, you could live there.
That's the thing.
Right on the water. It's beautiful. I love that part of California. No matter how the people are there, I know they're liberal,
communists,
Republican, communists, but great place to visit. Great place to visit.
But Sal, speaking of communists, everybody has been asking me, what does Sal say about Mamdani? We had the swearing in a friggin' tunnel yesterday where he wants to, what did he say? He wants to shatter the cold, harsh something of individualism with the warmth of collectivism. Isn't that like Stalin stuff, collectivism?
Listen, again, I'm going to reference the World Wrestling Entertainment, and you just need to realize that not even a few weeks ago, he went to the White House where these two guys, the president and Mamdani, were both calling each other names and gaslighting their people.
Yeah.
And then you remember what Trump said? You could call me a fascist.
Exactly.
You're saying, wait a minute, what? You can call me a fascist? The whole thing is World Wrestling Entertainment, which if you could follow wrestling, there's the baby face, the good guy, the Hulk Hogan, the original Hulk Hogan.
Then you have a jabroni.
The jabronis, that's the catchphrases in the ring. And then there's the heel, the bad guy. And you keep alternating and changing storylines. It's great. It's a great form of entertainment which has injected itself into the world thanks to Vince McMahon, and I see it everywhere. So what I saw yesterday is he's throwing a bone to the people that voted for him, and we know.
Do you think that's it, though? Isn't it kind of dangerous for him to talk about collectivism in New York City?
Well, the rhetoric is socialist. It is a socialist rhetoric. It is. But again, he has already made deals with Trump behind the scenes and all the Republicans who...
Has he?
Some of the Trump rhetoric, sounds like a right-wing version of socialism, no? You want to give, what is that, the 500, he wants to bring
$1,776 to the veterans?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's just the whole, there's a lot going on in the world. It's like inversion has become, everything is inverted now. And I caution people that no matter what you think of this man, give the guy at least 3 months to see where he's at. If he messes up,
I'm surprised. That's generous of you and very diplomatic.
Well, it's diplomatic in that we don't know who he's putting in as deputy mayors, which some of them are cop haters, by the way. But you have to let this all play out and see what policy they put in, if there's any violations of the law. That's when you can start in on them. But right now,
you're going to give him a fair chance.
You always start with a fair. Even if we did
the
same thing with if you remember, we elected, I don't know if he elected, but when Joe Biden became the president, he came in and he called everybody an insurrectionist. He started off on a bad foot, so he got what he
cheated.
People hated him for that reason. But Mamdani is talking about collectivism. I see what he's trying to do, but he's really throwing a bone to his socialist crowd.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But the shadow of the past 4 years is something that he needs to eliminate, which is the Eric Adams legacy / administration, which that is like a big shadow that's been all over New York City.
What
So,
has Emil Bove been up to since he sprung that
he's a judge.
jackass? I know, but
He's a judge.
has he done anything that we've heard about lately?
Well, you know, when you're a judge, you kind of get covered. You just
He's
do
an
the cases.
appellate judge.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, he doesn't live in that state. He's not from that state.
I don't think you have to, though, to be a judge there. That's different
like-
than
so-
being the attorney general.
So essentially, Jason, you could become a lawyer, get your law degree, go in court, fight a couple of cases, then make it to judge. But since you're from New York and Florida per se, we'll put you in, I don't know, Alabama, where
Yeah,
you've never been, and
right.
you could be an appellate judge there. You know the laws of Alabama, right?
That's a good point.
I mean, really. And,
I think they would take my bar license right away if I became a lawyer.
oh
That would
yeah,
be
we'll
the
have
first
the
thing they
George
would
Webb
do.
and Company, right? Those guys that keep attacking you. And
Actually,
another
you
guy
know,
that posted something on them. I don't even know what the guy is. George Webb. Who is that
he's
guy?
a big drunk idiot. Him and his brother have been trying to destroy my life for the past 9 years. I actually just helped my father file a petition for an injunction against stalking violence, and it was awarded in my father's favor. George's brother is not allowed to have firearms for the next 10 years
Whoa,
or ammunition,
that's a big one.
and
Well,
he's not allowed to bother us.
To me, I don't know what's wrong with these people, you know, harassment and doing all these things. Just like, listen, I saw like I said, the whole series with John Cullen, and it looked like the police officer there.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
I wanted to ask you about
I'm
that.
a little lost by what that police officer did because, listen, if you listen to this phone call, when he tells you, I don't think I'm giving you advice, I don't know you should give any legal advice. I strongly advise you, you're a police officer and you don't ever say that.
It sounded like a threat to me.
Yeah, this isn't the mob. I know we've got to blur the lines because of the Eric Adams administration, but you don't tell someone calling, which by the way, calling over the phone is not being in person. So I don't know why he called you for anything.
Let's
he never
break that
explained.
call down for a second.
He didn't explain himself.
Because wait a
but-
second, for people who maybe haven't seen you before, first of all, we have to let people know that they need to follow you on X.
Yes.
At
yes.
the Sal Greco, and also, if people haven't been supporting you, Sal, they can go to salgreco.com and you can tap on the support tab there. Check out all of his different stuff, the blog and everything, but support Sal. You know, this is what we're doing to earn a living. So if people enjoy the show, send a little money Sal's way. You can do some shopping on the site, right, Sal?
Yeah, but I'm trying to fix all of that kind of stuff. I mean, I've been so busy with so many things. But obviously, the support button would help because then I could kind of help fund what I do because I get a lot of information, as you know.
That's
And I
true.
have to vet everything. I can't just put the first thing I see out. A lot of Joe Cops message me, and then it's just a Joe Cop thing, which, listen, I was in the NYPD. I could tell you some things are just cops being cops amongst themselves. There's nothing there. They want to turn this into a federal case, and there's really nothing there. And then there's the real deal, which there are things that you think, as a Joe Copper, it's small, is a federal case.
Right.
So I have to vet these two things, and there's a lot with that. And,
But
you know,
you get incredible inside information
Correct.
and have a very good understanding of particularly the New York Police Department.
correct.
And so I wanted to ask you about this because you're saying not giving advice. Like, look, it's one thing, you were a cop for 14 years. If you break up a fight with two kids on the street or something and say, listen, I'm advising you both to just separate from each other and go
Yeah.
over there, that's advice because you're about to arrest them if they don't take it.
Correct. He's
It's
trying
different
to
than
say-
calling somebody up
and doing what they got.
and saying, don't talk to this third party who I know nothing about and haven't.
It's to me. This is now. I don't know what this guy's intent, like what exactly he was thinking. To me, it sounds as if this particular officer had already had a discussion or
With Cullen.
with Cullen, a personal encounter, and then
Maybe they're friends.
and then it could be any. I don't know because it sounded like. And then he goes, I strongly advise. I don't know why he's strongly advising anything to you, Jason, because it's either I was there, I saw him, or I didn't see him, or don't even bother speaking to you.
Let's back it up because maybe
Here's the
some
pier.
people, look at that.
This is a beautiful pier, by the way. Here,
Let's look at this.
this is the Pompano Beach pier with
Fisher
people. You'll
family.
see that.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that Carl Fisher, the guy who invented all the automotive stuff? It's got to be, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
This guy is like the Elon Musk of Florida. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but let me just break it down for people who maybe didn't see that, and they can go to my X and see the whole entire
I think you should.
Cullen list. But
I advise you to, because it's very educational as well. Jason takes a trip around the country. I don't know what, I mean, if he drove there, this would be a lot. It's a lot of money to spend, by the way, to drive all the way to California. The best part was Santa Monica. He was also in Vegas. He was in Utah, where the infamous assassination of Charlie Kirk happened, where no one, I don't know where the answers are to that still. And there was also, he went to Nashville.
Yep.
Okay, he was everywhere, and it was very entertaining to watch, but also it was very nice to
travel log, right?
Yeah, it's like a little travel, but it was very educational, okay? And then he had
But let me take you through this for a second, because people might not have seen the backstory. Cullen and I had worked together for like 9 years, 8 years, something like that. I thought he was a good friend. Went sideways. He and I had a disagreement. He included an image of me and my logo in a threat to a lawyer. And again, even if he thinks it wasn't a threat, it was clear that the lawyers construed it as a threat. And you know what it's like, Sal, to get jammed up in court. It doesn't matter what's true. It matters what they can make of it. And I saw that happening.
Spinning media, spinning the narrative.
Asked him to remove it. He did. Then he disappears from the internet, and a bunch of fake named accounts start saying, "Where's Cullen? Where's Cullen?"
Yes, I did see that as well.
Media campaign that I felt was being set up to position it as Cullen has disappeared and it's Jason's fault. Cullen is a hero, Jason is a villain.
And Jason knows him too, like you somehow were involved in his disappearance, some crazy
Well, they said that I had him assassinated.
Yeah,
somebody said Jason had him assassinated. He's been rendered to a CIA black site. And I had to shut this down, Sal.
Yeah, this was crazy. This is all true, by the way. You go back on X. It all started, I believe, in October 13th, his last post. And then they came after.
You know it well.
I know this because just because I don't comment on this doesn't mean I don't know or I view things. I see this and I said, I know Jason, and I know what Jason does.
I don't have people assassinated.
He has shows, he knows different people, he has them on. It's the business of media, and also you try to give people platforms, you get other people in there. To make this jump that because somebody has not spoken for whatever the reasons, I have no idea. I mean, this is the same guy that said, I don't know how Sal Greco has 30,000 views on X yet. There's a promote button. And he disappears because he threatened people. And then it goes to, well, Jason Goodman knows everything about him and knows something. And Jason knew nothing of what happened because I don't think you even spoke to this guy in a while. So this is guilt by association, and that's what happened to me, and I don't like that kind of stuff.
But then they ramped it up because
it was getting ramped up. It started getting ramped up behind the scenes.
The reason why I actually got involved in it at all was that there were legitimate people then who said, like, hey, in private messages, not in an amplified social media kind of, DMs, say, hey, you know what? I haven't heard from John. Have you heard from him? He normally answers my emails. Are you sure he's all right? And these were serious people who I had dealt with, who had been on the show. Oh, look at that pelican, Sal.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of pelicans here. This is the best part of this pier. You're gonna see.
This is an ad for ADD.
Yeah. And it's just, you'll see them and they scoop in and they grab the little fish and come back. They also let you feed them
fish
or pet
off
them.
the pier?
Yeah.
Pet them? They're gonna allow you to pet them?
Yeah, you can
I don't want to pet it, but I'm surprised it would hang out for that.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, serious people started saying, where is he? And then I was getting guilt tripped a little bit where people were saying, you're the only one who has his phone number, so you kind of like owe it to the community. Look, he's coming over here.
Yeah, see, look, he's hungry.
It's a very docile, it's a nice looking bird, actually.
Yeah, he's hungry. They're very friendly over here on this particular pier. I would advise people, and if you do visit Pompano, come to Pompano, you come to this pier and...
Look at that.
Yeah. He thinks that's food, though.
He's gonna peck me?
No,
It's a friendly looking bird.
He's hungry. Now, this is the first on Crowdsource the Truth if I ever saw one. Is that amazing? You never know what you're going to see on this show.
You never know who you're going to run into, Sal.
You can run into anyone.
One day it's Felix Sater, next day it's a pelican.
And another day could be Zohran Mamdani.
Could be. You never know. So anyway, they say, oh, you got to contact him, do a police wellness check, blah, blah, blah. Called the daughter. the daughter said, I don't talk to him. His mother says, you should call the police for a wellness check. And you know, he's told us on air that he lives with his 91-year-old father. I'm thinking, if something did happen to this guy, what's going on with the father? Okay, I felt some obligation. Call the police, called the sheriff, because you know, some of these places outside of New York, there's a sheriff that is kind of like over the whole county, and then individual municipalities have police departments.
And it's also each each municipality is different. So
their own police department.
So you could have like DC also has Georgetown, has and there's another police department. So when you go inside the Capitol, like in the area of where the Capitol
that's the Capitol Police.
There's Capitol Police, but there's also Georgetown. There's 3 different police departments that you see crisscrossing. So Jason is right. You have to actually know where he lives, and then you have to find who covers that.
Right.
And it's in particular, you have either a police department and a sheriff's office. You could have both. So you have to.
I called the sheriff, and they took all my information, and they said, should we go back this way?
You could. I mean,
wherever you want to go. You lead the walk.
This is you know, I like to come here a lot, and there's also nice shops across the street. But like this pier is actually one of the better piers in South Florida because it's all new here.
It's a high quality pier.
Yeah. And you have everyone here, and we're fishing, and they're wondering where's Cullen themselves.
Exactly. So the police took my information. The deputy called back and basically said, you're not family, you're not romantically involved with the guy, we're not giving you any more information.
Yeah, I heard that part.
And I said, okay, fine. So I left it alone. 8 or 9 days later, the police department, not the sheriff's office, calls me back with that guy.
This cop, by the way.
He left a message, or it was a text or something, and he said, get back in touch with me. And when I was calling him, it was his personal cell phone. I don't know if that's appropriate, or call me from his office phone or whatever, but he wasn't answering the personal cell phone. He wasn't answering texts to the cell phone.
That's strange.
So then I called the department, and I said, can I speak to Officer so-and-so? And they connected me to him right away. Because other people were saying, oh, how do you even know that was a cop? Maybe it's somebody scamming you. I said, that's a good point.
Well, yeah, but
I called the department, and they knew who he was.
And they verified
that
everything.
verified.
Which, remember, if you watch this, Jason called first to do the wellness check. So then this is when this other officer or somebody called you, and you said, well, why are you calling me?
And he said, oh, that's been resolved. I don't need to talk to you anymore.
So what was that about?
And I said, what was the nature of the call? And he said, I'm not going to tell you. Now, isn't that weird? Talk to that about that from a procedural standpoint. If you initiate contact with someone as a police officer and then the investigation gets resolved, because it made me think maybe he's dead. Why are they not telling me what's going on?
Yeah, what he should have done there, if this is whatever the case may be, unless they spoke to Mr. Cullen and he's the one that said, I don't go back, but he didn't. Now, then he would have had to have filed some kind of paperwork.
Wouldn't they say go get a court order?
Because what's very odd about this is then the next time when Jason finally speaks to this police officer, he begins with this, well, I strongly advise, and what are you advising anyone about?
To not talk to him or anyone around him.
Because unless there's something criminal, meaning aggravated harassment, you either file that report, there's court filings on it, or there's nothing. Or you just be honest.
And then I'm free to do whatever I want. If this guy's my friend and I want to reestablish the friendship, who are the cops to tell me not to contact him?
Or he could have just said, I saw him and
he doesn't want to
speak to you.
Right.
But he somehow turned this into, I strongly advise, and he doesn't explain why. And then
that's the weird part.
He stepped on it too.
I did a wellness check, he's fine, he doesn't want to speak to you.
That's it.
My advice is don't. He indicated that he intends to file a thing, so it's probably best to leave him alone.
Not this whole don't
create a mystery out of it.
And he almost sounds like a mafia tactics. Like, I suggest you don't do this, or else. What's John Cullen going to do other than file a report with you? If he went to the house, he left it open and I don't know what the hell he meant by that, but I was like, wow, that's what goes on in other police departments.
But by the way,
I'm like,
he also is a limited purpose public figure. He's in the news.
Correct. He is a media figure.
Dozens of people were asking me what's going on with this guy.
Blaming you for his
blaming
disappearance.
me. So, I mean, it was
He's alive and well, folks.
He's alive and well, and it was, correct me if I'm wrong, totally legal for me to go to his house, knock on the door, ask him if he wants to buy an encyclopedia, if he's alive, and if he says, get out of here and don't come back, then returning could be harassment.
Correct. unless there's something filed or he made a complaint, there's a report, he don't have anything. But the police officer, a little odd. I don't know how these other departments do it. And you know, like I said, I was in the police department 14 years, in New York City Police Department. We wouldn't do that. We'd actually either tell you the truth or just tell you it didn't happen, not call you back. Because the first part where he said, we're not going to tell you the nature of why we called. Why? Well, what was that about?
Yeah. He's like, how is it none of my business? You called me.
Yeah, I don't understand that, and I can't get to, I don't know exactly what happened there. Whether maybe they were at his house when they called, I don't know. I can't like assume, but I could tell you that was very bizarre, the way it was handled and why they called to say, I would strongly advise you not to do anything. When you're a police officer, it's pretty simple. Either you have something or you don't, or you inform whoever it is that made a report or complaint about something.
Wellness check.
Wellness check. We went there and he's alive, but don't go there.
Yeah,
he's
not interested in talking.
He's not interested in talking. That's all.
That would have been much more professional.
Than some ridiculous whatever he was, because I find that odd, because I've done that and I've never done that.
But it seems to me that Cullen may be friends with that guy and said to him, go call up Jason and tell him to piss off and leave me alone. That's the only thing I can presume. But let's get back to Zohran for a second, because
our favorite mayor.
I mean, I'm very concerned, I have to tell you, Sal. I think, honestly, you're being generous to give him the benefit of the doubt, but honestly...
Always start like that, folks. That's how I say.
But he's got no experience. I don't even think he could run a retail store, let alone New York City. What does he know?
Listen, here's the problem was during the election, I was one that was banging on the drum about everything. But listen, he won despite everything. We know he's got straw donations in his campaign.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be felonies. But again, he met with the president, which means he's going to do another Eric Adams and ignore it because it's some kind of business venture for the Trump organization or whatever.
Oh, they still want that casino,
The casino was done, by the way. You could thank Trump and Eric Adams. They made a little deal.
That's a done deal.
That's a done deal. He vetoed it. He got what he wanted. He's not in jail. He got his casino. Here's a quid pro quo, folks. So this is all a game to a lot of these people. Look at this. This is beautiful. People right here on the beach. It's January. This is the first week of January. Look how nice it is. And I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt because it was a little chilly.
Cold yesterday.
It was a little cold, but still. I mean, where can you go and have a view like this? Other than probably California was very warm as well. Maybe Georgia. But people right on the beach, and you have beautiful water here. There's sun forever. That's why they call this the Sunshine State. And of course, it's a sunny place for shady people as well. So you have a little bit of everything. There's the lighthouse down there as well. That's a beautiful lighthouse. That's another area we could potentially visit in the future. But Mamdani, look, how can I say this? Like, he is coming in, and whether you like him or not, you always give someone the opportunity to see what are they going to do and who are they putting into government and how is the police department going to run and all these things. For the last 4 years, probably 12.
Soccer mom.
The soccer mom is the police commissioner, and that is a huge problem. There's a ton of corruption.
Why didn't he get rid of her? He's getting rid of everything else.
Because it's it's a political issue. So he now appointed a first deputy mayor. His first deputy mayor,
not Kaz Daughtry,
who's not Kaz Daughtry, by the way. He said he's only going to have 5, and his main first deputy mayor, not the other deputy mayors, but there's one in particular, will now oversee the fire department and the New York City Police Department.
Yeah, it's a midget.
Which under Eric Adams did not happen. So this person will now be responsible as the buffer, per se, from the mayor's office to the NYPD
but she has
and
no
the
experience
FDNY.
as a firefighter.
No, but she's not. So, well, that's the head of the fire department. That's a commissioner. I'm talking about the deputy mayor. Who's the deputy mayor is so. The line is the mayor, and then he has deputy mayors, and then the heads of the agencies. Who reports to who? So these two, FDNY and NYPD, will now answer to the first deputy mayor. No longer, I know Eric. Hi, Tim Pearson.
That sounds good, actually.
Hi, Tim Pearson. I know it. Hi, I know Eric. I know Eric. All this nonsense was how they got away with all this stuff that was going on.
That sounds actually like an improvement.
It sounds like an improvement. And he also got rid of 9 executive orders. What he tried to do is everything that Eric Adams was doing, especially towards the end, which was more of like the crumbs crew, like where's my crumbs and contracts and splitting, all that stuff he wiped away. What he needed to do and set the tone is, I'm going to wash away like it was funny we had the beach. I'm going to wash away all the corruption you saw under this inept mayor who was right in front of him, and he did it with those executive orders. Now, I saw it was said, I saw the Jewish community. Some in the Jewish community, now listen, every group has their radicals. The Republicans years ago, or the conservatives had the Proud Boys, right? The radicals beating people up in the street. That didn't speak for all the conservatives, including myself. You have, the Democrats have the DSA, and those psychopaths in Antifa that run around and beat people up and do all that crazy stuff. So each group has their own set of radicals. Now, in New York City, 30% of the Jewish population voted for Zohran Mamdani, at least 70%. But you would say the overwhelming majority are people that'll say what I'm saying and will agree with it. But then you'll have this small group of radicals, some that are on X, not naming names, but they are out of control and should be put in a loony bin and won't stop talking about Trump and this one and that one and starting fights, but somehow it's at the White House.
Are you still in a truce with the Muppet?
Yes, I did make a truce with the Muppet, but the Muppet also was overthrown by certain people.
What do you mean?
Well, put it like this. He's not a fan of Eric Adams, nor was he really. And there's a lot of things he uncovered, and they came after him, so... You know, there's a little bit of
social engineer. Somebody's paying him to do whatever they want.
He's trying to do his thing. I know we're talking about
villainous Muppet.
The one and only Orrin Levy.
Yeah.
But we have a truce. We had an agreement. He wanted Curtis Lever to win, by the way. But
have you spoken to Curtis?
I spoke to his people, and now he's on WOR 710. By the way, you can go on Heart Radio or on AM radio. He was doing a show from 10 to 12, which is Mark Simone. I think he's going to have his own show. Don't know his hours yet, but I would highly suggest that you listen to him and not WABC Radio.
Yeah, they were jerks to him.
Except for Roger Stone's show. But
Roger's
on there. You can listen to him and don't pay attention to anyone else there. That's my advice. But getting back to what I was saying, so there's always a group of radicals.
Yes.
So even in the Jewish community, you'll have radicals. In the Muslim community, there are radicals. So you have a bunch of radicals that want to just go out of their way and prove that Mamdani is an anti-Semite and all these other things.
Well, let's just frame what they said, because I looked at it and it looked a bit disingenuous. They said that Zohran Mamdani had deleted some policy to define anti-Semitism and protect Jews. But when I looked at it, what he actually deleted was every single Eric Adams executive order.
Exactly.
So it included those things, but I don't know that it was necessarily
a move
the way they categorized it.
Well, this is what they're going to do, because this is a radical group that is upset that their Andrew Cuomo or whatever didn't get in because he was going to let them. He was going to let the city of yes go on and on. Not to say Mamdani won't, but there's certain special interest, and that's the radicals, we'll say per se. But this small group of people that don't represent the whole entire Jewish community are going to now paint him as an anti-Semite. Just like they're trying to say that there's a big group of Muslims running around doing something they're not.
Lawyer.
You know, and I got, I have a lot of Jewish friends, one right here. I have a lot of Muslim friends. This is not a race or religion war.
I agree. It's that he's an incompetent idiot is the biggest problem.
I mean, there's always a small group of radicals trying to speak for all of the population, and it's not true. So that's why I'm saying stay level-headed. Kind of like that moment in The Dark Knight when the Joker wants them to blow each other up and everybody holds off and not do it, and then he tries to blow everyone up. He had the button
on the ferry or
and then
whatever.
Batman threw him over and then saved him from dying. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Cooler heads will prevail. You just have to be a little bit of a thinking person. Think with your mind, and you're going to realize that.
Should we go this way?
Yeah, we go this way. So you're going to realize that you don't add to this narrative, which is all perception management, by the way. The soccer mom, the illustrious New York City Police Commissioner, does a lot of that. And you need to realize that it's not the overall assumption of people what they were saying. Thank you.
I thought John Schell was the control the narrative guy.
Oh, he's a big control narrative guy still to this day. He's trying to, even though he's no longer on in the New York City Police Department.
Did he retire because of Mamdani?
He retired under actually retired because in October he was trying to get someone from the disability board to hold on. He wanted to retire with Eric Adams leaving. But that didn't happen because I blew up the whole disability board scheme he was trying to do.
Really?
Where
well done.
He had a guy in there that was going to prolong it, because the disability board, the NYPD, there's 12 people there. Some are controlled by the mayor, police commissioner. Only one of them has to say, let's hear this next month, and you go to another 30 days and another 30 days.
Keep kicking the can down the road.
Keep kicking the can down the road. He wanted to do this until it was time for Eric Adams to leave, and he was going to leave with Kaz Daughtry. But that didn't happen. They had to do it because I blew it up. Crowdsourced the truth. Crowdsourced the truth. And so that's what happened with how he got his disability. It wasn't a question of whether or not he's going to get it. And listen, this has been a scheme going on, and the scheme is that a lot of executives get this 3/4 disability, even though they work, they never went sick.
Well, didn't he get injured shooting somebody?
Well, he did shoot somebody. Actually, he did kill someone on the job. The guy actually was unarmed and about face, meaning not facing.
Shot him in the back.
Yeah. So this is why me personally believe he has demons. And you see him, he's a constant drunk. He was drunk on the job. He was drunk on the internet when he comes on these shows. You can see he's hungover.
He's always fighting with and John McCarry and insulting Eric. He's a real dick.
The guy, because he's a drunk. He's someone who murdered someone, essentially. You know,
you should lay low, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's going to live with you forever. And the fact that he didn't go to jail for that. The city paid over $2.5 million for that civil suit. You know, there's so many things.
To the family?
To the family, and there was never a hearing or anything for his, because there's no record of the minutes from the grand jury, because there should have been an investigation. So someone like that, in my opinion, has to live with that every day, and that's what you're seeing with him. Every night when he goes to sleep, he sees that person he killed.
Are you sure he's not a psychopath and he doesn't care?
Well, that's another thing, because the more you hit the bottle, the more you spin down that road. And, you know, listen, I don't wish bad on anyone, but that guy in particular was a very bad guy.
Yeah.
I actually had to work with him, and apparently he got more drunk by the years, and at this point, it's really sad. But he doesn't speak for the men and women of the police department or the rank and file. He's the most hated guy.
But he was the chief of department, wasn't he?
He was the chief of department, and the next guy...
It's very high rank.
The next guy they all hated was Kaz Daughtry. It's 1 and 1/8. These are the two.
Look at that Shelby.
Oh yeah, out here, folks, you'll always see the most rarest of cars, and you know, because it's all sunshine here.
We missed it.
Even the worst of days here is still better than probably the best day in, let's say, New York or Canada. It's always cold.
That's true.
But these are the facts of what's going on. Is those two guys in particular were very hated by the New York City Police Department, and their shadow still looms over the police department, kind of. And the soccer mom still being there, who's an Eric Adams crony, essentially, is still running the police department. So Mamdani has issues still. And then going forward, you want to see who is going to restrict him or help him. And if he has the wherewithal to realize, politically speaking, if his political sense is there, to try to move the ball forward when he's going to have people that want to be his friend. He's the mayor now. You know, he's hanging around.
It's just going to be
Jimmy
more
Rodriguez
schemes.
is in this. I mean, he's mentioning a rapper, Ja Rule, whatever it was yesterday. Oh, the guy that hung out at Con Sofrito with Jimmy Rodriguez. So
Mamdani is now down with Con Sofrito?
I don't know. I mean, they're calling it halal frito to some of these people. but I'm saying, like, you know, this guy. So this known mob associate, is he in this circle? Because Anthony Miranda is still the sheriff. So that's, I mean, it's, and he was.
And Letitia James.
Tish James too.
Mamdani.
So are you in this crowd?
He is, obviously. They love him.
So I'm saying, like, or is he rubbing elbows, doing a political
thing? Yeah, that's what I mean. He's just, he's a made man now. It's like the end of The Godfather, where they close the door,
he's the mayor.
And he's in there.
He's the mayor. And that's what it is. And that's what you have to look for. So I take people's eyeballs and try to put them where there's going to be a lot of noise, folks. A lot of noise. Especially this whole, he's an anti-Semite, all this nonsense. But there's a lot of noise. You got to stick to what I'm saying. Because this is what happened with Adams. It happened with de Blasio when he had Phil Banks running around with him, and he got involved with all those cronies.
De Blasio's wife still ran away with the $800
million. She was actually sitting at this inauguration. And she's
wow.
You want to talk about someone $850 million?
Yeah.
She's just walking around like, oh, well.
How do they let that happen?
And you know why? Because they need de Blasio and her did it together. They would have to testify against each other, and they can't because they're husband and wife, something the NYPD has tried to do with a
Come
recent
on, Sal.
case.
They could crack that case if they wanted to. There's something bigger going on. So
Trump's
they make a big deal.
Department of Justice only just wants to look at his own political enemies and not look at crimes, because then
It seems that way. I mean, listen, Pam Bondi is really failing. It's
A
been a year.
disappointment, a
She's a
disappointment.
huge disappointment. I mean, she looks great for a woman of 60, but she's a shitty attorney general.
like, well, Kash Patel is also
Terrible.
we call Kash Patel Kaz Dodry Light, because that's what he is. He's got memes, he got the coins, he's terrible. Dan Bongino's so bad he's out of there,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is why
Dan
Kaz Dodry's
Bongino.
interviewing for that position. It's ridiculous. I mean, listen, you got a lot of rhetoric coming out of these people. There were these social media and like Fox News, a big, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they're not doing anything. They just got co-opted by everyone around them. And
So Dan Bongino is going to come back to the podcasting scene, also
yeah.
former NYPD.
that
What do
guy.
you think?
He was a blowhard, big mouth. He was a zero as a cop. No one remembers anything about him in the 75th precinct. He now all of a sudden was Secret Service, but then he is the head of the FBI. He knows nothing about the federal government. He only knows about Secret Service. So why is he the head of the second in
And
command
his
of the
brother
FBI?
was involved in some hooker scandal at the Secret Service.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you're blind leading the blind. It's a circus. And
Everybody's in a scandal. I don't think you can get in there if you're not in a scandal.
it's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I know I've had Kyle Surfing on the show. I know you had your issues with Kyle, but Kyle, he's plugged
Starts
in.
with me.
He's plugged in with the FBI guys and everything. And the way I had him on my show, the Sal Greco show, and you, like what he was saying, and it's kind of like what I heard, but he's kind of like me with the FBI. Dan Bongino, first of all, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino's number one thing is they're both unqualified for the job because
Well,
they
they're
were
stupid.
both not. They never worked in the FBI. They don't know anything
I
about
wanna
that
push
culture.
back. I think you could be a really gifted person and come into any position at all without experience and with a new approach and a new fresh look and maybe do it well. But you have to not be a stupid idiot, which the two of those guys are.
They're beyond.
And you have
they
to
just-
not be compromised.
I say this, I won't say they're stupid. I'm telling you, they don't understand the culture of the FBI.
I think they're
And they
stupid.
were eaten alive by everything around them. And then they got sucked up into, oh, I am this big media figure. It doesn't mean anything. You have 1 million followers. You're the director of the FBI and deputy director of the FBI. Do the job. Many people they want accountability, they want to see things come forward, and you're tweeting and talking like a...
Well, they want country music sensation girlfriends.
So it's what Kaz Dodry's done with the NYPD. You're living in this world where you don't know if you
We're
want
getting
to
a little too much toward traffic here, right? Should we go the
Yeah,
other
we
side
could
of the
always,
road?
well, we could always,
Let's go to the crosswalk here.
So it's like, what you're doing is you're becoming a social media guy when you're
Right.
running and you're in the government. And that's why the deputy director and director of FBI in the past you barely even know they exist. Other
That's
than
true.
when Comey got in trouble in it, but when he was an FBI director, you never heard or saw him unless you had to. This is the position that you take, whether you like it or not. That's how you should be handling it. Yet these two guys think I'm going to do what I used to do. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And Trump's administration has a lot of these people. I don't know how they got there. I don't know if he likes this. He clearly loves the chaos. He's been chaotic his 5 years as president so far in his administration.
Well, he says he thinks that they're doing great jobs.
Yeah,
but I don't agree.
He can't admit that they're wrong, but then that means he's a bad judge of character, which I think he is. He's got a lot of bad people around him. And these two guys, and I don't know, you put them in positions for patronage because, we were there when you were running. Then what are you doing?
Well, I
you
think
gotta put
that's
the
it.
most
He
competent
feels
guy
a
there.
loyalty to them, right?
And the most qualified person, right? A lot of people say DEI. Well, I don't believe in DEI. You know what I believe in? People get hired because they're your crony or your family. So nepotism and cronyism. Those two guys are cronies. You know why? They were close to Trump. They were all over the internet screaming for him.
I think Trump feels loyalty towards Kash Patel because he uncovered the whole Devin Nunes memo and all of that.
That's ridiculous. But still, so
I
that now
agree.
qualifies him to be the FBI director with no
No, I don't
experience?
think so.
So here's your problem. That is why you're seeing a failed state with the FBI and everything. You could say what you want about Pam Bondi, but Pam Bondi was qualified because she was the Attorney General of this state in Florida. She's been attorney for many years. Now, she's been a disappointment, but you could always replace her. But she isn't as let's say, incompetent as Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, who have no experience in the federal government.
But let me roll you back
Dan
a
Bongino
second.
was a cop for a second. He doesn't even know
let
how
me
to
roll you back a second.
arrest anybody. Does he know how to put a case together? I mean, I don't know.
Let me roll you back to your WWE analogy.
Oh, yes.
Because I wasn't going to bring him up, but you mentioned Kyle Seraphin, who has deliberately lied about me, been incredibly antagonistic, and no offense to you, he's a fucking asshole. And the
A lot of
point
people
is,
like to say that because of the rhetoric. But
the point is, if he was, legitimately trying to get to the truth, why does he have to come and publish lies about me? He went after that girl Becca BX on X.
I know her too. I've spoken to her.
So I'm saying he's just a chaos guy.
Yeah,
Kyle
it's like
Seraphin.
for me, sometimes of course I know people and friends with different people. Like I'm friends with Jason and
A
Kyle.
lot of people don't like me.
People don't like him, but I like him. But other people
Thank
say,
you.
well, why do you like Jason
I'm
so
not
much?
going after them though.
No. So this the thing is, I believe what Kyle is, it's in the FBI culture to kind of like be the way he is, where he likes to be a little smug with people
dick.
and joke around. And I guess, you call him, they say he's a dick. But I get along with him well because I come from the same culture, not in the FBI, but I
What about this
understand it.
120 grand he got from a nonprofit? That's very suspicious.
Yeah, that one I
to
had
me.
no idea about. I just saw
I just
that.
found that yesterday.
I saw you just found that, this is what happens. See, when you start messing around with certain people, you got to understand there's two people we really don't want to mess with in the world of media in general, and that's a journalist or a lawyer. Those two people can crush you, especially when they come together, because they'll be digging up skeletons you didn't even know you had. So this is a problem. So
That's money he got in 2024. And the thing is, it's from a 501c3, which means it's got to be nonpartisan. It's a good smelling cookout. It's got to be
there's
nonpartisan
always good
and
food here.
strictly educational. And I'm saying it seems like Kyle Seraphin is an opinionated. I mean, it's fine for him to be paid $120,000 if somebody likes his show and likes his commentary. But I think it would be a stretch to say that it's nonpartisan or educational.
I'll say this. I think I like what Kyle does, and I've had him on a couple times, like I had Jason on, and I think he beats on a lot of things that nobody knew about, like the pipe bomber seems to be a complete patsy, and
Well, that's the way they do everything, the FBI.
But they're using this poor guy as their patsy to justify Dan Bongino leaving, saying, I caught the guy I said I was going to catch when you didn't. It was like all the procedures were completely either overlooked or
But the thing I'm
why?
getting at,
Because you're
Sal,
wasting taxpayer money on what? For
the
egos?
thing that I'm getting at, Sal, is Kyle Seraphin is arguing it's this soccer playing girl, soccer mom too,
Yes,
and these other guys are arguing that it's the autistic black kid. And I'm saying, how do we know it's not neither of them? And this is just the WWE wrestling match where two placed parties are there to argue about anything other than the actual facts.
I would say because Kyle was entrenched in the culture and very much in there, I would tend to believe Kyle more so than
Oh, here's something
Cash
interesting
Patel,
about
who
that
has
crew.
no idea about what to do in the
Kyle
FBI.
did a lot of that research with Steve
Stephen
Baker.
Baker, who was also a victim, and the FBI tried to go after him
right.
too.
But the point is, I didn't know who that guy was, and when I started talking to John Earl Sullivan, Steve Baker came out of nowhere and he's like, oh, come on, this guy. It's like, why are you protecting this idiot John Earl Sullivan, who is obviously inciting the riot on January 6th? And he starts,
Yeah, I remember that.
crapping on me. And it's like, look, I'm just interviewing this idiot and sharing my opinion as an uninvolved party. Sullivan is suspicious as hell. He sells his footage to CNN. He gets onto CNN. That's not the way that stuff usually works. I mean,
no.
when I made national news by provoking Dershowitz to say, what do we have there? Look at that giant iguana. When I provoked Dershowitz to
There's an
say
old
that the
one.
government could inject you with the thing, that made national news. That was on Tucker Carlson. Nobody offered me $30,000 for the footage. It's very suspicious.
What about the fact that other people used your footage and tried to take your name out of it as well?
That is what I mean. So then
remember
when
that
you
one, too.
contrast that with John Earl Sullivan and him getting paid and getting on CNN, it's interesting. And it just seems to me that there is some group or some person or some body that picks winners and losers. And like you said, you know, some people seem to come out of nowhere and get 1 million followers on social media.
Oh, God, yeah.
Other people have experience and inside information and break stories and never get anywhere.
But I would think that Jason should have at least by this point, and I know he was banned for a couple of years and stuff, but at this point, Jason should easily have about anywhere between 100 to 500,000 followers.
I had 120,000 followers in 2020.
And you would have had more. It probably would have been 1 million today. But
that's what I'm saying. So they pick the winners and losers. Climbing up a mountain could take
Elon
10
Musk,
years.
by the way.
Getting knocked off the mountain and falling down takes a day.
I mean, like Roger Stone to this day does not have 1 million followers.
That's hard to believe.
And it's very hard to believe because he's so well known.
Right. He's on the radio all the time.
He's on the radio. He's, you know, here he is. He's Trump's friend.
Hanging out with Trump, right.
I mean, like, so why is he stuck at 917,000 for weeks upon, maybe a month, 2 months now? So, and you see that they are kind of looks like they are picking people. Eric Adams has over 100,000 followers. Eric Adams has over 100,000 people that hate him in New York City, probably in one neighborhood. Forget about followers. So this is
he
what I'm
doesn't
saying.
ever say anything remotely.
But he does share the same lawyer as the owner of X, so you wonder what's going on there. I mean, you kept pointing this out, and I said, I wouldn't, but I've seen how Elon Musk was reposting Eric like he's some kind of victim. And the only thing I think of is, did his lawyer call him and tell him?
Elon Musk reposting Eric Adams. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he was underneath him, quote. So, and Eric Adams actually reposted it. I'm like, this guy's a criminal. It was actually President Trump's DOJ that originally started the case against him, and people just want to blur the facts, ignore it because they're going to push their little, what it's called is perception management for the narrative.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They want to do perception management because they're going to control the narrative. That's the key words from these people, and that's what they all essentially are doing. I like to point things out. Facts. Here it is, what do you think? I think Jason does that. Maybe sometimes Jason will go down a conspiratorial angle, but most of the time, Jason does go down.
I don't do it without evidence.
No, that's the key. You need to have documents, otherwise it goes into defamation,
well,
other stuff.
That's a good time to pivot to Tish James, because we touched on her a little bit.
She was holding the Quran for Mamdani.
But she seems to have gotten away with the mortgage fraud. The indictment fell apart. What now with Tish James?
So the problem there is, what I understand, and I did put this out, was that there is someone that came forward that's a witness, and it could be one of many, that knows what she was doing in New York and Brooklyn, and more importantly, the entire con sofrito stuff, they know. And the SDNY shielded this witness and wouldn't let the prosecutor in Virginia recently and before use this person as a witness or anything in that case.
Wait a minute, when you say shielded, you mean they submarine the witness?
Correct. They don't want you. It never happened because they asked. This is back behind the scenes. I got this from a few good sources there. I can't tell you where or who, but this is what I was told. And
so it's shenanigans still.
It's shenanigans in that they are somehow protecting this woman. I don't know why. I don't know who's really behind it, but the Southern District of New York believes to this day that they're a sovereign district that does not fall under Washington, D.C. or any other district. They are their own animal. They've always viewed themselves that way to this day. Well, just based on what I said proves it.
And Mamdani is acting that way as well. When he's saying we're going to go against, he said New York operates under international law. He wants to arrest Netanyahu.
Come on, it can't do that though.
Well, but New York operates under the U.S. law, not international law. He thinks he's the king of something. He's going to introduce collectivism and take your property if you're not managing it well.
But here's the thing: is that's all word salads. He's throwing bones to that radical base that you need that somehow vote and will vote for him, thinking he's going to do these things that legally speaking he cannot do and will never happen. He will never. No one is being arrested. Netanyahu will probably go to the Gracie. Well, I don't know if he go to Gracie Mansion because he probably thinks he's the president and he's bigger than him. But if they could put their egos aside, they would shake hands and laugh at this.
I don't see that.
I could see that very much, because this is WWE. And again, I keep telling people, where the guy who turns on you 3 weeks later is now in the ring shaking your hand saying, we got you, we fooled all you, joke's on you. So this is what's kind of going on. I see it, but other people, because they don't, I've been in it, had to live through it, am still in it, and I can tell you that's how this operates. And you're all just spectators,
What's happening with your case, Sal?
My case will have very soon, this month, you'll be seeing some rather important updates. There's other developments, new developments. So they're probably going to see another case be brought forward. So that will be very interesting. You'll see that in a few weeks, that filing, and I'll come out and I'll show everybody everything publicly. So we have that, and there's going to be a hearing on my original case in February, because remember the city.
You got to go back to New York for that?
No, but the city has done everything to stall. Remember Eric Adams himself, he thinks I don't know these things, but I know everyone around him, and they were saying, he said, I am going to starve him out. I know, Eric, you're gonna say, I don't know Sal Greco. You say that to your people. You're not saying that to the guys that were around you, not your circle, not everywhere you hung out, right? Because they're showing you everything that's being said and done, and how, basically I'm one of the reasons you're no longer the mayor, because you've been scandalous, and you probably, as the ringleader of Crumbs, you were the cause of all that. Because as bad as those other guys are, those old bad actors, it is you ultimately that hold the final decision. And you're all for it, and you're all for people doing all these crazy things. And I know how you are, because you've done this since the beginning of your police career. You're the ringleader.
And so if you could snap your fingers and get any outcome at all in your case, what is the outcome that you're looking for? You're not interested in joining the cops again, are you?
I would think that I should be restored.
You do want to go back to NYC.
I have plenty of damages, because I try getting a job. Try getting anything without people labeling you,
right.
Whatever it is the police department had labeled me, without facts, without all innuendo. You can't, your life has been put on hold, and basically they threw a dagger through it, and somebody's got to pay. I also have lost now 4 years and counting of service. So there's pension contributions, there's your pension. Remember, I don't have one. And I lost everything, had to pay to get my lawyers. I've been rejected from jobs. There's a lot going on here that people don't understand. That's why you should, if you can, help me out.
Yeah.
salgreco.com/support. Also, I have my own YouTube channel at the Sal Greco Show. You can see I have my own show there. There's highlights. I've also had my show on The Finest Unfiltered on YouTube. So you could check what I've been saying out. You could decide if I'm telling you what's not true and what's true. But ultimately, everything I've been saying has pointed to one thing, is how messed up this system is and how it needs reform. And I emphasize and put a highlight on victims, client, lawyers and their clients in regards to this whole NYPD system, which is a big thing, especially in law enforcement, but in the universe, in the spectrum of things, it just kind of like a matrix. It's small, the matrix is small, but it builds on top of everything. So what you see there is happening in other places, in other agencies, in other states, and people get affected. And essentially what you're trying to do is don't destroy someone's life on innuendos and all this nonsense. If it's just political or whatever it is you're trying to do, some kind of hidden agenda. If someone's a criminal, bring that case, bring them to justice. Maybe they repent, maybe they reform, who knows, but that's what you're supposed to do. We don't just pick and choose winners and losers and people based on our feelings.
That is what they're doing.
But that's what they're doing, and that's what I don't like, and that's why you'll keep seeing me out in the forefront with that.
It's great, Sal. People definitely do need to subscribe to you. We had all the social media channels up there.
Yep, also TikTok, the Sal Greco Show, Instagram, at the Sal Greco, and at the Sal Greco Show. So those are the things you should be following, because there's always material and stuff I put out.
No Marlins game today?
The Marlins aren't playing until late March.
And no highlight?
No highlight right now. The season's over. But there is going to be a Ranger game. They're playing the Panthers, I believe, at the Lone Depot Park, which is my favorite baseball stadium.
You're going to destroy a Honda there.
Actually, I'll stop him. He'll be, listen, I've arrested so many people doing that very tactic. So can't drink and drive, folks.
That's right. Well, we're lucky to have you on a Friday, Sal, and welcome to 2026.
That's right.
I was told there'd be jetpacks, flying cars, and robots. But actually, we're getting close with the robots. But
Back to the Future predicted some of that stuff.
exactly. So thanks for watching, everybody. And don't forget, you can support Crowdsource the Truth.
And you should.
On subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth or crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com from Pompano Beach, Florida.
Beautiful Pompano.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great 2000.